What if the reason people don't stay as long anymore isn't because they're busy? What if the short visits, the quick phone calls, the polite smiles, aren't random at all? Let me ask you something straight up. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling completely fine, but later realized the energy shifted the moment you started talking? Here's the part nobody says out loud. Certain habits slowly drain respect. They don't explode relationships overnight. They don't cause big arguments. They just quietly create distance. And the people around you? They won't call you out. They'll just adjust. They'll sit a little farther away. They'll share a little less. They'll visit a little less often. And the scary part? Most of these habits feel normal. Even justified. You might still feel sharp, experienced, confident. But are others slowly pulling back without telling you why? This isn't about shame. This isn't about tearing anyone down. It's about awareness. Because once you see it, you can fix it. Today, we're breaking down 12 subtle habits that can quietly chip away at your dignity, and how to fix every single one. Now, before we go any further, let's get something clear. This isn't about wrinkles. It's not about gray hair. And it's definitely not about trying to act 30 again. Aging isn't the problem. The real issue? Drifting into habits that slowly change how people experience you, without you even realizing it. See, there's a difference between getting older and aging well. Some people grow older and somehow gain more respect every year. When they walk into a room, people lean in. They listen. They value what's said. Others? Same age. Same life experience. But something feels off. Conversations feel tense. Invitations slow down. The warmth fades just a bit. And here's the truth nobody talks about. Respect doesn't automatically increase with age. It evolves based on how you show up. The good news? Every single habit we're about to cover is fixable. None of this is permanent. None of this defines you. This is about fine-tuning your presence, not reinventing who you are. And the first one? It's subtle. It's common. And it speaks louder than you think. Let's start with something small, but powerful. When was the last time you looked in the mirror, not just to check your hair, but to actually ask, is this how I want to show up today? Now, I'm not talking about designer clothes. I'm not talking about expensive cologne. I'm talking about the basics. The shirt that's been worn one too many days. Hair that hasn't seen a comb. Shoes that are technically fine, but clearly past their prime. That faint scent that lingers just a little too long. Here's what most people don't realize. Self-care isn't about vanity. It's about signals. The world reads signals fast. Within seconds. When your presentation slips, people don't think, oh, they're just tired. They subconsciously think, they've checked out a little. And nobody says it. Your grandkids won't say it. Your friends won't say it. Even strangers won't say it. But they adjust. They lean back slightly. They shorten conversations. They hesitate before hugs. Not because they don't love you. But because something feels off. Here's the deeper layer. When you stop taking care of yourself, it doesn't just affect how others see you. It affects how you carry yourself. Your posture shifts. Your energy dips. Your confidence subtly lowers. And people respond to energy before they respond to words. Now here's where it gets real. Sometimes self-neglect creeps in quietly. You retire. Your schedule changes. You're not out there as much. So you think, what's the point? But here's the point. You're still here. You still deserve to feel sharp. You still deserve to feel fresh. You still deserve to look in the mirror and think, yeah, I've still got it. And here's the shift. It doesn't take much. Fresh clothes that fit properly. Groomed hair. Clean nails. A simple grooming routine you stick to. Replacing what's worn out instead of squeezing one more year out of it. That's it. It's not about impressing anyone. It's about signaling. I respect myself. And when you send that signal consistently, something interesting happens. People respond differently. They treat you with more warmth. More attentiveness. More admiration. Because dignity isn't about age. It's about effort. And the best part? This one is 100% within your control. Now, if that one felt a little uncomfortable, don't worry. The next habit? It doesn't show up in the mirror. It shows up in your mouth. Alright, let's talk about something a lot of us pride ourselves on, honesty. Here's the thing. There's a huge difference between speaking your truth and just being blunt. Ever catch yourself saying stuff like, "Back in my day, people actually knew how to behave. Honestly, that outfit looks ridiculous. These kids today just don't get it." You might think you're just being real. Maybe even a little proud of saying what nobody else will. But here's the kicker. People feel it differently. Honesty without kindness? That's criticism dressed up as truth. And when that hits, people don't call you out, they just pull back. They stop inviting you to dinners. They hang up the phone faster. They smile, but there's distance now. It's subtle. Almost invisible. But it adds up. Here's the reality, the louder your blunt honesty, the more it isolates. It doesn't matter how many decades of life experience you have. If your words sting, people retreat. So what's the fix? Before you speak, hit pause for 3 seconds. Ask yourself. Is this helpful? Is this kind? Does this strengthen the connection, or push it away? If the answer is no to any of those, either reframe it or hold it back. And here's the beauty. When your honesty comes wrapped in warmth, people lean in. They listen. They respect your insights. They don't just hear your words, they feel your wisdom. Because truth alone isn't enough. Kindness is what makes it stick. And the next habit? It's visual. It's what people notice before you even open your mouth. Let's get real for a second. Comfort is great, we all love it. But comfort crossed with neglect? That sends the wrong signal. Ever notice someone wearing the same outfit for years, stretched out, faded, or a little too tight? Maybe shoes that have seen better decades? That's the kind of thing people notice immediately, even if they never say a word. Here's the truth, clothes aren't just fabric. They're messaging. When you dress like you still don't care, it whispers to the world. I've stopped paying attention. I'm not engaged with today. I've checked out a little. People might not comment. They might not be rude. But they notice. The admiration, the warmth, the respect, it subtly fades. On the flip side, updating your wardrobe doesn't mean chasing trends or trying to look decades younger. It's about presence. About showing up as you today, not you from 20 years ago. A well-fitting pair of pants, a shirt that complements your natural tones, shoes that are intact and clean, that's all it takes. It tells people. I'm still here. I still value myself. I still care about how I show up. And here's the magic, the small details matter. Even tiny upgrades can change how people respond. They smile a little more. They engage a little more. They treat you with quiet reverence because they sense your awareness and pride. Comfort and style can coexist. You don't need to sacrifice ease, just be intentional. And the next habit? That one lives in your words again, but in a very different way. Here's one that sneaks up on almost everyone. You've lived a long life. You've seen a lot. You've learned things others haven't. And there's this urge, this pull, to share it. To teach. To make sure your point lands. So you start talking. A story here, a lesson there, and before you know it, the conversation becomes all about you. 10 minutes pass. No one else has had a chance to speak. Here's the problem, it's not about being mean or selfish. Most of the time, it comes from a genuine desire to help. But the result? People stop opening up. They start hesitating. Calls get shorter. Visits get briefer. They still love you, but they're protecting their own space. The irony is this, when you hold back just a little, when you let others speak, the dynamic flips. People lean in. They trust you more. They ask your opinion. They want to hear your wisdom, because it doesn't hit them over the head. Here's a simple rule, for every story you tell, ask a question. Pause. Let them share. Listen actively. Not just nodding, but actually absorbing what they say. That small shift, 70% listening, 30% talking, changes everything. You become someone people seek out, not someone they brace for. And the next one? It's one of the oldest traps in the book, judging the younger generation. The classic trap, shaking your head at how kids today act. You see a teenager glued to a phone, or a young adult making choices you wouldn't, and it slips out. Back in my day, people actually talked. These kids don't know how the real world works. Maybe you laugh it off. Maybe it's meant as a joke. But here's the reality, constant criticism, even mild, builds walls. You're not just pointing out differences. You're telling younger people, subtly, that you don't get them, that their world doesn't matter, that you're stuck in the past. The result? They stop sharing. They keep things light. They avoid deeper conversations. It doesn't matter that your observations are true. What matters is how they feel. And if your default is judgment, it feels like rejection. Here's the fix, curiosity over criticism. Instead of saying, these kids today have it easy, ask, what's it really like trying to figure things out now? Listen. Ask questions. Bridge the gap. When you approach the younger generation with respect and curiosity, something amazing happens. They listen more. They ask questions. They want your input, because you're a guide, not a critic. Remember, your influence doesn't come from pointing out what's wrong. It comes from connecting, understanding, and guiding with empathy. Next up, a subtle habit that trips up almost everyone in public spaces, ignoring modern etiquette. Here's one that can quietly annoy people without you even knowing it. Think about small public habits. Speaking loudly on the phone in a cafe. Standing too close in line. Playing a video without headphones in a waiting room. These might have been fine decades ago. Maybe even normal. But times change. Expectations shift. And suddenly, what was once harmless starts to make people uncomfortable. The tricky part? Most folks won't say anything. They just adjust. Move away. Avoid eye contact. Give you that subtle, oh, glance. Here's the bottom line, etiquette is a language of awareness. It shows that you're paying attention to the world around you, not just yourself. And being tuned in matters more than you might think. It builds respect, signals kindness, and shows you're still engaged. Notice how people behave around you. Adjust your volume. Mind your space. Use headphones. Simple, small actions like that create comfort, not friction. When you move through the world thoughtfully, it affects more than strangers. Family, neighbors, friends, they all notice. And respect quietly grows. We've all seen it, a group of older adults starts talking, and suddenly it's a contest of aches, surgeries, and medications. Now, sharing once in a while? Totally fine. Normal even. But when every conversation circles back to what hurts, what the doctor said, or the next appointment, it wears people down. Here's why: it shifts the energy from connection to caretaking. People stop feeling like friends or family. They feel like assistants. And that subtle shift can make people pull back. The fix isn't hiding your struggles. It's a balance. Share your challenges, yes, but mix them with stories about what you enjoy, what excites you, what still makes you laugh. This keeps relationships alive and positive. You stay present in the moment. You invite joy, not fatigue. We all have values that shaped us. But sometimes, holding on to them too tightly can build walls instead of windows. Statements like, "People are too sensitive these days. I don't care what the science says. That's just how it is," can shut people down before they even start talking. The truth? Stubbornness often hides fear: fear of losing relevance, fear of change, fear of admitting you don't know everything. Being open-minded doesn't mean abandoning your values. It means listening. Asking questions. Learning from new perspectives. And here's the upside: staying curious makes people respect you more than insisting you're always right. Slowing down is natural. But losing awareness of the space around you can annoy people more than your speed. Examples: standing sideways in a grocery aisle. Drifting into someone's path while walking. Blocking a doorway, lost in thought. Most people won't call you out. They just sigh, sidestep, or avoid the situation altogether. The fix? Awareness. Slow down, but stay mindful. Keep to one side. Pause when needed. Move intentionally. When you do this, you show respect for others, and it makes people want to move through life alongside you, not around you. Humor is golden, if it lands right. But some jokes don't age as gracefully as we think. Sarcasm, teasing remarks, or old stereotypes might have been funny decades ago, but today they can feel outdated or even disrespectful. Here's the reality: younger people are navigating a culture that values inclusion, empathy, and respect. A joke that punches down creates distance. People may laugh politely, but they'll start pulling back. The fix? Self-aware humor. Laugh at yourself. Keep it light. Lift the mood instead of putting someone down. When your humor adapts, it draws people in, not pushes them away. Getting older comes with real challenges, that's undeniable. But here's the subtle trap: asking for help when you don't actually need it. Maybe it starts small. "Can you just do this for me? I'll mess it up anyway, you do it." At first, it feels harmless. But over time, it sends a message: I can't handle this. Family and friends notice. Even if they help gladly, inside, they may start feeling like caretakers rather than companions. Resentment creeps in, quietly, slowly. Here's the shift: ask for help only when it's truly needed. Show effort in the things you can do. Carry your own bag. Try the new remote. Follow the recipe without hovering over someone. The result? People respect you more. They admire your independence. They feel proud to step in, because they know it's needed, not habitual. Maintaining agency isn't about pretending to be young. It's about showing strength and dignity while still being human. Life experience is valuable. But the need to always be right? That's a silent relationship killer. Signs: correcting someone's story at dinner. Rolling your eyes at new ideas. Brushing off opinions with, "Trust me, I know better." At first, it seems harmless. People might even laugh. But over time, constant correction pushes people away. They stop sharing. They stop challenging you. Why? Because being around someone who always has to be right is exhausting. Here's the secret: wisdom isn't about having all the answers. It's about knowing when to speak and when to listen. When you release the need to win every discussion, people come to you more. They value your perspective because it's calm, thoughtful, and intentional. The goal isn't dominance. It's a connection. Influence. Respect that grows naturally. Take a moment to reflect. Which of these habits has crept in unnoticed? Which ones made you pause and think, maybe I do that? This isn't about guilt. It's about awareness. The first step to change is seeing yourself clearly. Aging well isn't pretending you're 30 again. It's showing up with presence, grace, and self-awareness. Small shifts in how you dress, speak, listen, joke, or interact can transform relationships. They can reshape how people experience you, and how you experience yourself. Remember, it's never too late to reclaim dignity, connection, and respect. Show up consciously. Speak kindly. Move intentionally. Laugh wisely. Ask for help thoughtfully. And most of all, listen. Those small changes, they ripple. They strengthen bonds. They leave people feeling seen, respected, and inspired. That's the true measure of aging well.